Welcome back, everyone, to Power Up with Pride 2025. We're here raising money for True Colors United, and we're ready for our next game, which is new Pokemon Snap with SnowballSMB. She's going to do a Durice Island high score showcase for you, and we're ready to go.
Alright, hello everyone, my name is Snowball, and yeah, this is new Pokemon Snap with the Durice Island, all of the stages on the island high score showcase. Cool little thing about this game is after you've played through the main story, then you unlock a feature called Course Scores, where it pretty much takes your pictures and tallies them up for high scores, and there are even in-game leaderboards, which I think is really, really cool. The Durice Island is the 5th area of the game and has the Snowfields day and night courses, as well as the Outaway Cave and the Steelix Illumina spot. So, with that out of the way, I'll give a quick countdown, and then we will be off. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, a little bit about how the high scores or course scores rather, are tallied is you have, every time you play through a course, you have a total of 72 pictures that you can take. And every single picture that you take is scored based off of a number of factors. So it takes these scores of each individual photo that you took on a playthrough of a course, multiplies those scores by the number of different Pokemon species that you took pictures of that time around, and then adds all of those up together. And that is the course score. So on each of these stages, I will be trying to maximize the number of different species of Pokemon that I'm taking pictures of. Some of them I will be taking multiples of with the burst photo feature, which lets you change how many pictures per input you take, from anywhere from 1, 3, 4, or 6. And I will actually be switching to 6 photos, 2 bursts of 6 on this Sand Slash, because this is a pretty high score photo. While the Sand Slash eats a fluff fruit. There are a handful of different features that you have to sort of initiate different interactions with the Pokemon. I'm gonna just grab this Frostlass picture because I'm always messing that one up. That looked pretty good this time around. Actually, before I explain those features, I need to focus on trying to get this Glalie. Alright, there we go. This Glalie is the sort of big reset point of the run, not because of that photo of Glalie specifically, but because if I throw an orb at, an Illumina orb at the Glalie while it is at the shoreline, it will then bite the tail of the Avalugg that is in the water, and that will cause the Avalugg to let out a roar that is a really high, really high point photo. That also scares a Vanillux out of the cave to a later point of the stage, which is really important for just another really high score photo. Going to turn around and get this Dugong, and then Mightyena. I'm always forgetting Mightyena, so I wanted to check my notes to make sure that it was time indeed for the Mightyena. Now I'm going to throw a fluff fruit at this Crabominable and take 6 photos when it turns around. There we go. And then fluff fruit this cavern hole. So the different sort of features that you have to get different interactions with the Pokemon are fluff fruits, which I've been throwing at various points throughout this stage. And then there's also the scan, which can also help you find alternate routes. Like, I ended up taking 2 alternate routes throughout that stage. But they do also sometimes cause various interactions with Pokemon to occur. There's also a little tune that you can play, and then there is also Illumina Orbs, which pretty much just, like, light up the Pokemon with, like, a really pretty glow around them, and some Pokemon will do, like, a little dance if you hit them with an Illumina Orb. But now, just tallying up the scores on each of these photos, these are pretty consistently good. Could have been a little bit further forward on the Frostlass. Really cool feature. I can't remember exactly when you unlock it. It might be post-game as well. But at some point you unlock the ability to drive the little car pod, research pod thing that you're in faster for periods of time. And that is a very useful trick while going for high scores, to make sure that you get to certain Pokemon at certain points, and it's a fun little mechanic to have. High 6.6 million, very happy with that. Now, next up is the Snowfields at Night, which is also probably the scariest stage out of the 4, because there's a Pokemon on this stage that we take almost 50 pictures of, that I have to hit with an Illumina Orb in a very precarious spot. And if I don't, then that's a reset, and this Pokemon is at pretty much the end of the level. So, hopefully, things will go well. Another fun fact about this stage has the highest number of different species of Pokemon for any high score. This route uses, or takes pictures of 26 different Pokemon. There is a glitched route that I have heard about that very few people have actually been able to pull off, that actually takes pictures of 28 different species of Pokemon, but I have never tried to do that, and I don't plan on it because I like playing this game glitchless. Now for the second part of this stage, this is going to be much more chaotic than last time, because last time in this area we took pictures of 4 different species of Pokemon. This time it's like 8 or 9, I want to say. So this Crabominable is going to go over here. Going to hit it with an Illumina Orb, so that way it will punch this tree, dumping a bunch of snow onto this Abomasnow, who's going to use Blizzard, which is going to summon this Frostlass. Take a picture of her. Hit the Frostmoth with an Illumina Orb. Next up is going to be waking up this Crabominable. And while that Crabominable is walking over to a tree, wake up Glaceon with an Illumina Orb and take a picture. Crabominable is going to punch the tree to knock a bunch of Snoms out of it. And now the final 2 of this area will be running out of this cave with Burret and Weavile. Now we go back to the Ice Cavern. And I think that this is the only point in this showcase where we actually utilize the music. I might be wrong about... No, I think there is one in Outaway Cave. But play the music here to wake up the Jinx. She'll blow us a kiss and take a picture for a very high point. I think that's a 4-star. Depending on what interaction with a Pokemon you get, a picture will have a different star level. And there are 4 different star levels for the photo decks. The 4 stars are usually pretty peculiar to get. Alright. Take the picture of the Avalugg, hit the Jinx with an Illumina Orb. And then throw Dugong a fluff fruit to eat. Take its picture. Beartic is up next. And then look over here, throw fluff fruit into the pond to get Magikarp to jump out. And now I look over here. This is the reset point of the run, because I have to hit Suicune with an Illumina Orb as it's running across, and it looks like that happened successfully. And now I take... Actually did that in the wrong order. I was supposed to take a picture of Mamoswine instead of Swinub, but that is honestly fine, because now I take 18 Suicune pictures, and then take a picture of the other one, and then go back to Suicune, hit it with an Illumina Orb, and it will use... I don't know which move this is. I think it's either Icy Wind or Aurora Veil. Switch to a burst of 4. Switch to 1. I think that counted as a Swinub picture, which is very tragic, because the Swinub is like over 3,000 points less than the Suicune, but oh well. Last up is Aurorus. And there we go. I am very happy that Suicune did not cause a reset, because it's not the hardest trick in the showcase, but it is the most stressful because of how far into the stage it is on definitely the most complex of all of the stages.
Let's do this. Nice work.
But now that we are through that stage, while the photos are just being tallied up, now would be a great time for any messages from the host.
Nice work. Perfect timing.
Sure thing. I just want to remind everybody who's here that we are raising money here for True Colors United, which is a charity that helps to help with youth homelessness among LGBTQ plus youth. You can donate. I will put the link in the chat. And we have a lot of incentives and bid wars open, especially bid wars for the next 2 games, which are fairly low. You have a chance to snipe your choice here coming up. So just get those in, take a look, see if there's anything you like over there.
Nice work. Great timing. Great timing. Nice work.
I forgot to check to see what the game counted for that one picture. I could have just real quick clicked on the Swinub tab in the picture tally at the end to see if there was more than one photo. But still, all around, anything over 9 million, especially in a marathon, is really, really good in my opinion. So I will gladly take that. Now, we are going to Outaway Cave.
Yeah.
This stage
Thank you.
has a lot of complexity to everything that needs to be done in like the first half, and then it mellows out dramatically in the back half. First up is a Noibat picture.
Good luck.
It's not the greatest Noibat picture I've ever taken, I will admit. But that is fine because we need it for the species. I do need to hit that Pumpkaboo that I got over there with an Illumina Orb, as well as 3 more Pumpkaboos. Because there is sort of an underground, like, jungle area at the end of the stage, or towards the end of the stage. And if you have hit with Illumina Orbs the 4 Pumpkaboos before that point, then the Pumpkaboo in that jungle cave will be a supersized Pumpkaboo. And the importance of that is the supersized Pumpkaboo just takes up more space in the photo, which helps with points. But get the picture of Hydreigon, Orb, the Pumpkaboo, grab Braviary, look up to the skylight, and Berktic will look over the edge from the top. Fun fact about that Berktic, I did not know that that thing was there for a really long time. And for the longest time, I was very confused where I was losing so many points compared to other scores that were high up on the leaderboard. And it was because I was missing a species of Pokemon. But now, I know. Berktic is up there, and it's fortunately not that hard of a picture to get, because it just sort of walks right along that path. And just lines itself up very nicely for a good picture. I almost ran out of time to get this path because of the Clefairies. The Clefairies, for whatever reason, give, like, ideally over 5,000 points per photo. So it's really important to get as many pictures of the Clefairy as possible, but that is also a very unforgiving route change in terms of how quickly you have to activate it before it will despawn. But now we are coming up to a contender for my favorite mythical Pokemon in the entire series. Going to orb that Mawile and these two Carbinks. And the Diamond Princess Diancie will come bouncing out from behind those rocks. Hit her with an Illumina Orb. And beautiful glow of powerful sparkles for some 4-star pictures. I need to take 5 more. Yeah, 5 more. Burst of 4, switch to 1. Turn around. Hopefully this Mawile will turn around. Run a scan for a little pose. Turn around, there's a Sableye just sort of chilling. And now we've got Vivian, Pumpkaboo, and Rampardos in the jungle. Vivian, and then go with the Turbo Speed to get to the Pumpkaboo as quickly as possible. Hit with an Illumina Orb, so she'll do a little shimmy. That is a very difficult photo to time well, because you want to time the photo so the Pumpkaboo is looking at the camera. But that's a very quick shimmy, so it's pretty difficult to actually get the timing right. And then Rampardos is going to eat that Fluff Fruit and do a little roar. Release the zoom in and take that final photo. Now we are going to have only one stage left. The smallest of the stages, only having 6 species of Pokemon. The Illumina spots are sort of like this game's equivalent to like a boss battle stage. Steelix is not the boss of this stage, even though it's the Illumina Pokemon. The 3 Noibats that I have written down in my route notes as the 3 terrible Noibats, they are the bosses of this stage. And I'll explain why as soon as we enter the stage, because it becomes very apparent very, very quickly. It's also going to be probably the only stage out of these 4 that this showcase I'll be having to reset. Unfortunately, the reset is in literally the first 10 seconds of the stage. But the Noibats are kind of temperamental when it comes to behaving in ways that are ideal for high scores. And I will gladly take an out-of-way cave PB in a marathon. That, I think, puts me, I think, around 65th place on the global leaderboard, so I will gladly take that. Alright, Steelix spot time. This stage, I have an interesting past with. This is, I believe, the only stage that I have ever hit top 10 on any of the in-game leaderboards, and a long time ago I actually had the record on it with the first ever 2.44 million point one. Of course, I got that when I wasn't streaming or recording. I'm gonna reset for safety. I think that would have been okay, but just to be sure. So there are 3 Noibats here that move in sort of like set ways, but it's also random. I have to hit all 3 with Illumina orbs with such timing where they are all lit up at the same time. This is going to cause a specific interaction with a Noibat and the Steelix at the end of the level that is going to result in 57 pictures of Steelix. Take a burst of 6, switch to 3 burst, and take 3 there. So, fun fact about the Illumina Pokemon, like you can see with the Steelix, if you hit an Illumina Pokemon with enough Illumina orbs, then they will light up with a special pattern. I used to know what the lore was about all of that. I think it has something to do with, like, protecting the world from a meteorite and also the legendary Pokemon Xerneas. The lore of this game is actually kind of cool. Even if I don't remember it, I do remember that it was really cool. But I'm going to Illumina Orb that Crystabloom to light it up and have this Crobat fly out over the ravine. This is going to line up for a pretty high point photo of Crobat as it turns towards the camera here. Could have been a little bit better, could have been angled, or I could have positioned the camera a little bit better so that way the Crobat was more centered, but I will still gladly take that. That should be, if I'm reading the photo right, still around 4,400 or so, which is not ideal for that specific photo, but it is still definitely usable for high score purposes. You can also tell that this interaction with Steelix is going to happen if you see the Noibat on the left side walking out of that tunnel. That's sort of like the indicator that you got the interaction to happen. 3 more pictures of Steelix. I think that first one of the 3 could have been better, but I'm pretty happy with the second 2. Take alternate to these ruins. And speaking of ruins, let's see if this Joltik ruins this run. Joltik can do 2 different things. Alright, I need to accelerate up here because it did. There we go. Wow, Joltik actually was nice to me both in setup and in the run. Usually the Noibat, or the Joltik will not look directly at the camera. It can either like look back and forth, or it can like scratch its face a few times. It has not been looking at the camera recently, like at all. I may have accelerated too much. That should be fine. Well, Sableye this time didn't look at the camera. That's very unusual. But that should still be high 2.3, low 2.4 if I am eyeballing the photos that happened that run correctly. I want to evaluate this one, I think. Time is going to be when the course score shows up on screen after all of the photos are evaluated. So be ready on that. 3786, that's pretty good. 4192, okay, given how much I accelerated without meaning to, That was actually a really good Noibat. And time. That is a wildly good score for that stage. 2.43 is at the very least top 15 worldwide. If not top 10. I cannot remember exactly. No, I think my high score on this playthrough is 10th. The 2.437. So that one is still top 15 though. So I will gladly take that in a marathon setting. That was new Pokemon Snap, the Darice Island High Score Showcase. Thank you so very, very much to Power Up With Pride for having me, for letting me show this off. Real quick shameless plug, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Blue Sky at SnowballSMB. I like to do stuff with Sonic and Super Monkey Ball and Pokemon. And I've actually also been doing a decent amount of Mario Kart World recently because that game's also super fun. Yeah, once again, thank you so very, very much to Power Up With Pride for having me. I absolutely love this game and I'm always so happy to show it off.
Thank you for sharing the game with us. It was a really fun run, and we'd love to see that high score tick up. And thank you to the chat for sticking with us here. We do have the bouncer coming next with Oscar 424. It's going to be a great run. We're about to close the bid war for the character on that. So just get those in as soon as you can, because I will be turning it off here shortly. To remind you, we are raising money here for True Colors United, who this year is assisting their regional shelter partners around deportation raids and the rights of young people who are seeking services, pushing back on the federal government's DEI bans, and advocating for HUD funding that directly supports young people experiencing homelessness. And they're pushing for new protection legislation in support of young people experiencing homelessness despite many challenges in Congress. Your support is more important than ever and deeply appreciated. Every dollar here counts. You all have already raised more than $1,200 for the cause. Keep them coming. If you're getting your donations here, I also want to mention the game after the Bouncer, Star of Providence, also has a bid war for the ship. Currently, Null, which is the default ship, is winning, and the ship is more than just a cosmetic option here. It changes the gameplay, so check out that and see if you want to get another one into the lead. We have closed the bid war for the Bouncer, and Volt is going to be the character. When Oscar's ready, we will get that all set up. And in case you don't know what Power Up With Pride is, I don't know how you got here, but this event is running all weekend. And if you missed any marathon so far, or if you're going to miss some runs tomorrow or Sunday, you can find them uploaded after the marathon on the YouTube channel. It's in the panel, or we'll put a link in the chat as well. You can also look us up on Blue Sky or Mastodon, or by joining the Discord channel.